I secretly asked Santa for a diecast of this car for Christmas as a last-ditch effort to figure out if he was real or not. Christmas Day came and went. No Cartoon Network car for me. That's when I knew. That's amazing.
This is a real
That's
story,
amazing.
though.
No way.
That's my life experience. Everybody has that story of their own.
Welcome to the Money Lap. I kind of look up mid taco bite. You don't know disappointment. Talking all things motorsports by two real drivers.
I appreciate being called a gritty driver.
With many, many years of experience.
We've had to do that other people didn't want to do.
The most dedicated host in the motorsports podcast world.
Weren't we supposed to have somebody come on our show as a guest?
No, we did it.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes, for our 1 year anniversary.
And we definitely know what we're doing. Remember, talk through your mic.
I'm talking past it like this.
Well, if you just pointed it differently.
Like, never mind. Never mind.
Oh,
Never mind.
Let's
the
talk about
standards
race
mic.
cars. God's
This
sake.
is our worst show ever.
We got an all-new Money Lap coming up right now. It is Thursday, September 4th, 2025. I'm Parker Kligerman, joined as always by my good buddy, Landon Cassill. Before we jump into it, Landon, and before you say hi or even speak on this show here, I just want to give a shout-out to everyone that's been asking about merch from my win at Daytona. The Junior Motorsports store sold out online, but you can still get some shirts at their store at the JRM shop. You also can get them on the hauler for Junior Motorsports that goes to the racetrack. And also, spoiler diecast, our buddies there have allocation of the official JRM shirt plus a special funny shirt that hopefully you guys will enjoy. So if you want some merch from the win, go to spoilerdiecast.com or those physical locations at the track or at Junior Motorsports shop. All right, enough of that business, Landon.
This is all to commemorate your win.
Yeah, sorry,
Daytona,
quote,
right?
win. That's the second shirt alludes to two wins in quotations that are out there. For the fair price of $29.99, by the way, I should say.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's new with you?
Well, I guess off of that win, I got to go ring the bell at Junior Motorsports, which was fun, and got to talk to the team, of which I started out by saying, I don't know how the hell I got here, but here I am. And you guys are all shocked as I am that this man is speaking in front of you. But yeah, it was a fun time. I told them I could see why they were so successful, but I won't give away all their secrets on the broadcast, I swear. And it was cool to get to hang with Dale a little bit more, Connor, just, be around that organization. But Dale did point out something to me after telling me that he listened to our show last week. So not only is Denny Hamlin our single listener, but we have Dale Earnhardt Jr. Clap for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got 2 listeners, baby. 2 out there.
He texted me this week and said that they have a banner now for Parker and myself.
So that's what I was going to
like,
get to.
Okay.
Well, I was going to get there because he pulls me aside. He points up and he points at your banner. And he's like, not only do you have a banner here, but Landon's got one too. I was like, no way. Money Lap in the Junior Motorsports building. They have a ton of banners. But you're definitely, you're just prominent because I feel like they have a lot less polls than they do wins.
Interesting.
So yeah, yours was very prominently right there. I saw it. And so we're both in Junior Motorsports. How about that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I did tell him, I was like, man, if you still have my banner from 2008 up there, you must have a lot of banners. He's like, yeah, we have a lot of banners.
They have a lot of banners. Oh, I got my suit, by the way, from the race. They gave it to me. I got Connor.
I saw that. That's cool.
Yeah, and I got Connor and Dale Jr. to sign it. But I had a lot of fans being like, I would like, they want the suit or like put it on eBay. Obviously not doing that. But the cool part is, if you'd like to see the suit up close and personal, I was hit up by the NASCAR Hall of Fame where they will be taking the suit and displaying it. So for probably the next year.
Cool. Are you signing the suit?
I wasn't planning on it.
I really
but my name's on it. So I was like, I'm not going to sign my own suit, but the, people can see it up close and personal. The suit that's never won a race, but won a race.
I think you should sign it.
Really?
Yes.
My own suit.
Yeah, you should sign it. That's like Because think you're going to put it in a frame someday, and it's gonna have a placard, and it's gonna explain what it is. It needs to have all 3 of your signatures on it.
Shannon said the same thing, and I was
And
like,
someday your
sign my own
children are gonna want to sell it for
"Oh, I have
maximum
children at
value,
some point."
hopefully.
Oh no.
Someday my kids are gonna want to sell it.
Yeah,
After Uncle Parker passed away, he left us his suit.
I'm a good uncle, really good uncle.
Yeah.
Man, you're right. I'll leave it to you guys in the will. So, I don't know. I'll think about that. I haven't. I gotta game theory that a little bit. Do I want my signature because it has my name and my logo, so it's like obviously my suit.
I know, but you're the one that wore the suit and raced in it and won.
But I'm never giving it. I'm never like. I guess I could see you're saying like if it passed down to people, have your signature on it. So,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
I gotta think about that. Well, anyway, if people want to see it, they'll be at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, which is super cool. It's the second suit I've had in there. When I won Mid Ohio, they put a suit in there, which was super cool.
Like you should
So-
write a note on the suit. Like you should write on the suit and be like, "This is
Whoa.
the suit I wore to win Daytona for Connor Zilic and Dale Jr." Signed, Parker Kligerman.
They won't even have to put a little plaque up next to it. You're just going to take care of that for them.
Yeah, I got it for them.
Like, how
What do you
cool
call
would that
those
be?
when they're at a museum? They're not. They're placards, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just do it on it.
Did you
All
get to
right.
see your suit last time?
I didn't. I never made it there.
I got to see it. I had no
I
idea
got a lot
that
of
it was there.
photos.
I didn't have a photo. I was like, I didn't take a photo. I don't know why I didn't take a photo, but it was cool. Are you gonna go see it this time?
I'm gonna try this time. Yeah, I'm gonna make it over there to check it out.
Okay.
I actually was at the Hall of Fame when it was there one day for an event, and I never went and looked at it like an idiot. So, well, it's cool. It's a great honor that they'd want something like that. It's cool to have been there. I always tell the story, but you'll find this funny, Landon. When the Hall of Fame first came around, they had this photo on one of like at the round area where all the cars are that was describing the Xfinity series and at the time Nationwide series. And the photo they used was a picture from Mid Ohio in 2013, which was the first race there in the Xfinity series. And I had just got shoved off into the grass through turn 5. So it's a photo of like the field going through those corners, and I'm this lone car in the center of the grass cutting the corner. And so I was always like, I tell people like, I made it in the Hall of Fame, baby. Look at that. Like, it's so dumb. What have you been up to? What's going on? We recorded. It's been more than a week since our last episode.
Been pretty busy. August was a busy end of the month. Labor Day weekend was nice. Kids went to Ohio, went to the Ohio State Texas game. That was cool.
You were a bachelor this last weekend.
I know. I didn't really do anything with it. It just is never. It's never as fun as it sounds. Like everybody leaves, and I'm just like lonely. So that's fine.
So to any guy,
we had a. Here's a fun one in the retail business space. We have a. We were bombarded with 1-star reviews from an angry customer today.
Oh, really?
This poor guy. He guy had an appointment on a car, but the car sold before he got here, which is tough because we don't hold vehicles. We do appointments. It's important to do an appointment,
Yep.
right? So let you know you're coming, make sure the car's ready. But you can't hold. If we held a car for every person that had an appointment, we'd never it would be a mess.
Never sell a
Right.
car. Yeah.
And so we try to be upfront about that, but you can't, you don't always get it right. And we managed to get people like, we communicate it the best we can. It was like, hey, I know you have an appointment on this later today, but unfortunately the car's sold. We don't want to waste your time. Can we help you find something else? But this guy just didn't work out that great. He was upset, but he demanded, he tried to offer us more money for the car. And we were like, well, we don't really operate that way because like people were in the business office signing out on the car, tried to offer us more money for the car. I was like,
You ripped them out. You're like, hey, never mind.
Yeah, sorry, bid tire. It's like, nah, we don't really work that way. And so then he was demanding. So then he was so angry. And normally we do this all the time where it's like, if you show up, you're looking at a car, but the car got sold or something, like we'll put gas in your car or something like that to at least be like, hey, we're really sorry. Like some kind of, wouldn't let us do any of that. But then, like, barrage of messages and demanded that we pay him for his time and all this stuff, and then tried to use Google reviews as hold us hostage, and then it's leaving a bunch of Google reviews right now on
Oh my
duplicate
goodness.
accounts.
That's-
So that was fun.
That's not the only thing you had happen this week, Landon.
So Lee, please overcompensate by go leave a 5-star review. Balance.
You've got more 1-star reviews than this show has now.
I know.
What do you do about that on Google? Can you combat them?
No, Google's horrible about it.
Really?
Like, it's not. You can report them kind of, but they don't give you much. You can't just combat them. Google takes this stance of like, nope, that's disagreements are between, we're not getting in the middle of like settling any scores. I mean, I guess like with this guy's reviews, the one thing is he went off and like was posting pictures of a junkyard and was like, this is their lot. So like I reported it, like you could report those and be like, well, that's not like it's fraudulent. Like that's not. So you can kind of do that. I don't know if it takes them down or not. You can go up and look at the reviews. I mean, the thing is, he has a right to be upset. I don't blame him at all.
No, I get that. Yeah.
It's just that, like, but we can't, we don't hold cars. We don't take deposits. We don't do that stuff. It's the cars are still first come, first serve. Right.
Yep.
And, I mean, people, if somebody made an appointment on a car 5 days from now, I can't hold the car for 5 days because you might show up and buy it.
Yep.
Like that's just, anyways. So that's fun. So go.
That wasn't the only thing you had happen this week, though. You also had somebody come in with boxes on boxes on boxes of.
Oh yes. Well, not the boxes. I need. You need to post. I didn't I send the pictures? You need to show the pictures. So a customer has a legendary diecast collection of all like action collectibles cars still in boxes from like mid 90s, late 90s. So this is like mid to late 90s Earnhardt and mostly Earnhardt and Gordon stuff.
Wow.
And he's asking if I'll buy him or find a buyer for him. So I haven't reached out to spoilerdiecast.com on these yet.
We should.
Yeah, we should. Should I just do the spoiler ad? Read right off of this.
I think probably we just
because if you're a racing fan like us, you've got to check out spoilerdiecast.com. They're absolutely crushing it. One of the fastest growing diecast and racing merch companies out there, and for a good reason. They ship same or next day, so your order is not sitting in limbo forever. They have incredible selection, massive, over 1,900 products in stock, mostly NASCAR. They do have some dirt, sprint cars, IndyCar, even F1. Don't forget, you can go and get Parker's win shirt.
Yeah.
So they've got a little exclusive deal with Junior Motorsports to help get that shirt out there, and they're going to get the car out there too, right?
They've got the car. You can definitely get the car.
You can get the car. So
dual autograph.
Dual autograph. Yes. Oh my gosh. Connor and Parker's autograph. That car's going to be worth something. Free shipping on orders over $100, and you get a free NASCAR t-shirt of a random driver, still running that one, using promo code MONEYLAP. So spoilerdiecast.com, check them out. And honestly, if you're listening, spoiler, send me a message and let's put together a buy bid or something on this collection, because I want to get this. Yeah, that's just like one page of the collection. You could zoom in on like some of the cars there and you can see what they have. There's I think 250 cars in total between cars, a few
270.
Yeah, 270. There's there's maybe I think 220 cars, and then there's 50 other stuff. It's like transporters and things like that. So I'm trying to figure out what all this is worth, and maybe we need to get Spoiler to just list it all and see if they could sell it.
I love it. That's
That'd be
awesome.
cool.
I would be very curious to what that is all worth.
I have no
Like, just
idea.
say it's averages $100 each one.
Do you think they're worth $100 each one?
I'm just saying if the average, right? Because I'm sure there's a couple special Dale Earnhardt ones in there and Jeff Gordon that are worth
potentially, multiple hundreds or even thousands potentially, I'm guessing.
Well, leave a comment, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're listening to this and diecast, let me know what you think. Pause that video, zoom in on it, and see what. Just to get an idea of the cars that are here. These are good cars. Like this is the heyday of diecast, and these things are all new in box. They're not taken out of the box.
I'm very curious if any of them are very low DIN number ones or even a number 1 DIN, because that's one of those holy grail ones. Matching number dims, number 1 dims, and last off the lines.
Matching numbers and the super low stuff like under 10. Pretty much all of those are cherry picked out of the back. I would imagine those were cherry picked, especially the matching number ones. I would think if you got under 100, you could legit get under 100 maybe, but anything.
You think back then when the number ones came off the line, they somehow didn't make it to retail?
They had to. They couldn't have. There's no way.
I don't know. Interesting.
I would imagine that Teresa Earnhardt has every number 3.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Yep.
Lowest I got is a Ross Chastain DC Solar Vegas initial win at 28. That's the lowest DIN I have.
That's I feel like anything 10 and under is probably cherry picked.
Well, I actually haven't even unboxed it, but I have the sample for my Big Machine Spike Coolers 48 and the sample of my truck Spike Coolers truck from Daytona.
What's that 75 behind you?
That's my Mid-Ohio win.
Is
that was a fan? A fan made it.
Oh, okay.
I bought it. I think I bought it from him. Yeah. So that's a hand recreation, handcrafted. So should we? Well, first of all, if you're listening to this and you feel inclined to leave a review for Money Lab, 5 stars in Apple, which we would talk about at the end of the show. We talk about those newest reviews. You could also go leave 5 stars for Cassill Motors. Go 1 for 1. I think that's a fair trade for your time. And potentially this could get you closer to this huge diecast collection. Maybe Landon will, if you leave him a 5 star, he'll get you one of those diecast. We'll see. I'm just costing you money. So let's talk about real racing. It is Thursday, as we couldn't get recorded before this, but we thought we'd just look quickly at the bracket stuff and just sort of see what happened out of Darlington and see if anything we wanted to talk about or point out, which, was an interesting race in terms of a lot of playoff cars had issues, including Josh Berry, who lap 1, turn 2, qualifies 3rd, bottoms out in turn 2, spins, wrecks, goes a bajillion laps down. You had Alex Bowman, who had pit stop issues, which locked him a lot of laps down. They had that horrendous pit stop where the gun wasn't plugged in, and then they didn't realize it, and then they tried to get another gun, and then they plugged the other one in, and it was just a disaster. Austin Dillon, Joe Logano, the Penske cars were just not fast. Shane Van Gisbergen had kind of a unique strategy where they'd fallen back because he was not happy with the car, and then they tried to go super long, pitted, and then the caution came out, which locked them a couple laps down. So a lot of issues. Anything stick out in those cars that you would want to discuss, Landon, in particular? I think everyone by this time has probably heard the Hendrick cars struggled, which was obvious. The Penske cars struggled, and then it just seemed like numerous cars had issues here and there, including race winner Chase Briscoe, who had voltage issues at one point and had to cut off his cool suit and his helmet blower and everything. So no one was spared. But I think it's falling in line with sort of what I picked in our brackets that we did. What sticks out to you?
I think the Hendrick cars struggling sticks out to me. Like, did they peak at the wrong time this year? I mean, they seemed almost unstoppable at one point.
Yeah.
Right. I guess I hate to dwell on it, but like Kyle Larson hasn't been the same since Indy. Does that still remain?
I think it still remains. Really. I mean, had a good run at Daytona, but other than that, it's just like you just keep expecting him to show up.
And then even a Hendrick car struggling at Darlington, it's like, gosh, I felt like William Byron is a sure thing at Darlington in the next gen car lately.
He was
right?
terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, so that's a surprise to me. I don't want to say the SVG thing was a surprise as much as I'm mad that you suckered me into taking him so much farther in the playoffs. I should have gone with my gut. Which I
just
love. The
believe-
thing, I'm not trying to take anything away from that group and what they've accomplished and what they had going on and all this stuff. Because like I love the unique strategy. Wish it would have worked out. But so.
Yeah. One car I didn't hear many people talk about this week, as I've listened to all the other podcasts. They're all podcasts. We're a show. This in the last couple of days was John Hunter Nemechek and his team were the only ones in stage one to basically do this alternate strategy where everyone had gotten convinced that a 2-stop strategy in the stage was the fastest way. He did a 1-stopper and went from 30th. He actually started closer to 28th, I guess, because of some of the cars falling back and that sort of thing. But he qualified basically 30th and netted finishing 9th in the stage on a 1-stopper. And then once he got that track position, parlayed that into never making a mistake and ended up in the top 5, him and his teammate Eric Jones. But his Travis Mack, his crew chief, I saw him mid-race and I was like, bro, great job on the strategy. He's like, I can't believe no one else did it. Like, it just made sense. I was like, that is just so funny because you know this, when you talk to all these teams and crew chiefs, they get in this like group think, hive mind sort of thing, you know? And even with all these teams having war rooms and, you know, all this analytics and such, they still kind of get this hive mind of like, oh, this is the thing to do. And you notice it at places like at Daytona in stage 2, it was possible to basically pit, not lose a lap with a couple laps to go, and then not have to pit under the caution and gain a bunch of track position. And so everyone was talking about that. And every crew chief I went to was talking about it. No one ended up doing it, but it was like, you just get the sense of like, oh, everyone's discussing the same thing. And at Darlington happened. And then just the one contrarian, Travis Mack and the 42 team was like, thanks boys. We'll just pick up 20 spots. Like, boom, simple. I just thought that was fascinating to see in this day and age.
I think the key that you pointed, I hadn't really thought of it like this, is hive mind. It's like they have to keep one-upping each other. So like the trend over the last several years, I want to say like 3 or 4 years, because this was kind of starting when I was running in the next gen. And it really started at some of the high tire wear tracks like Richmond, Darlington, Vegas. We started to get some consistency on the schedule, right? The race distances, the stages, and it just started trending in this direction where it was like every stage started becoming these 2-stop stages, right? And then the hive mind that you're talking about, what I hear when I'm listening to that is now the engineers and crew chiefs, they're like, well, if I can, when there's 3 seconds of tire fall off, if I pit 1 lap earlier, right, then that's 3 seconds I can gain just like that. So you never want to pit 1 lap after the guy you're racing against, right? You always want to pit right before him so you can potentially leapfrog. Well, if everybody's constantly trying to pit 1 lap before the guy next to them, it's like they're just working them. It's a race to the bottom type thing where all of a sudden, you know, they're pitting sooner and sooner and shorter. And then, you know, like you said, inevitably somebody goes, hang on a second, bing. Now we go all the way to the other end of the spectrum and just go, we're doing a 1-stop, right? We're just splitting it. And so, you know, I don't, that's such an interesting point. I didn't even really notice that or think about that very much. I wasn't watching the race close enough throughout the race. So like I usually do.
Yeah,
for Darlington, but
obviously I noticed it because I was pit reporting and he was one of my cars, and I was trying to.
I love that.
We were trying to bring it to light earlier in the race as it was happening. It ended up happening like in stage 2 or stage 3. I finally got to tell the whole story. Just the way live broadcasts work, you know, especially from the pits. As something like that happens, you're trying to get it in, but you're trying to follow the broadcast and you're trying to find the right point in time, and then the lead gets very close. So then we kind of don't do any pit reports. And so it just didn't work out to tell that story. And I was like, damn, like we have to say something. This is like in a time when everyone's like, oh, you just follow the leader and like do whatever. This team just completely went the opposite way and netted a massive gain. And to your point on the pitting earlier thing, there was teams that were telling me that they had basically windows, right? Like say 3-lap windows where they felt like the pit window was open, where they told the driver and the spotter, if you see the car ahead of you pitting in this window, pit. We'll react. It's up to you guys. Basically to the point where like the crew chief's like, I can't even call you in quick enough. You need to be able to react and understand exactly when those moments are. And so this one team told me, they're like, we gave the spotter the power to be like, pit, basically.
Yeah.
And, to that point
that's
where they
really
went so
smart.
far one way, then it was like just one team was like, well, if you guys are all going to do that, we're just going to do this. And it's going to net out and work.
I love that.
Wild.
That's so funny. That's like the little details and nuance that, we have to capture those because that's so good and so interesting. I don't know how you capture it in the race. I mean, I'm sure at one point we're going to talk about the ratings because here we are just, loving over those nuances and details. And yet, the ratings were abysmal, but I don't know. I love that. That's a cool detail.
Very cool. And, just a shout out, Chase Briscoe led over 300 laps. What a performance by him, qualified in the front row and just never relinquished control of the race. Obviously, it got close at the end. I heard him talk about how I was actually covering him as well. And they never went further than like 35 laps on a run. And the last run was going to be something like 48 laps, maybe close to 50. If it went green, and they were telling him, and he basically knew, he was like, man, for 25 laps, my car was awesome. But I felt like it'd fall off a cliff at 30 or some odd laps. And sure enough, Tyler Reddick got really close to him, Eric Jones right at the end. They couldn't get by him. But, that was, I just thought a performance that kind of fell in their hands, just the way the runs worked and everything in that sense. And he did an excellent job. And for a guy that, started off the year looking a little shaky at Joe Gibbs Racing and now is going to the next round of the playoffs and, is a bona fide contender in that sense. And I loved his quote this past week where he was like, when I was at Stuart Haas, you make the playoffs. That was cool. And then it was like, hey, how far can we go? Let's see. And he's like, now at Joe Gibbs Racing, whether you drive for Joe Gibbs, Hendrick, or Penske, the expectation is if you don't make the round of 8, the year's a failure. Like you failed. You got to at least make the round of 8. You got to be the top 8 cars. And, he could have made a statement with this one. So kudos to him. Great job. I think, we don't need to dive too deep in the race because it is Thursday and everything that happened. If you're listening to this, you've probably heard everything you need to hear about the race. The big news that happened this week and last week is the continuing lawsuit between 2311, FRM, and NASCAR. It got real heated last week after we recorded, so we didn't get to dive into some of those things that came out of that, like text messages and all sorts of internal discussions on the team side and on the NASCAR side that were pretty scintillating. But we also had a decision, or then a filing by NASCAR where they basically said they would not sell those charters that are FRMs and 2311s and would only sell new ones. So therefore, the judge did not grant the teams their injunction requests because there's no irreparable harm if they don't have charters right now, essentially. Not to get too into the legalese, but I do think it's a pretty fascinating situation. From a sentiment analysis position, I will tell you on the ground and just talking to team owners and other people within the sport and the industry, at this current time, I feel like there's sort of a thought process that there's no real winners in this right now. And obviously that can change and there can be, we'll see where this all goes as both sides seem determined to work this out in the courts, or at least from the team side. But the sentiment, just sort of talking to people and feeling getting the feel for the vibe on the ground is just sort of like it's becoming what no one wanted, which is a bit of a distraction. It is becoming it is hurting their ability to kind of conduct their business in some respects, to sell sponsors, to get new partners involved in the sport, obviously, because if you were thinking of investing in a charter and see this happening, I'm not sure that would be a a very prudent decision. And so we'll see where that goes, but it was just very fascinating to me to kind of see a real vibe shift, as for the last couple of months, it's sort of been like, we'll see where it goes, whatever. Yes, it's an existential crisis, but hopefully it'll work itself out. And now it's becoming real as things start to come out from, into the public of what's being said and all the discussions and the numbers, to where it's sort of hurting everyone and there's no winners right now.
Right. It felt more real this week than it ever has.
Yeah.
And
And
it was kind of sobering as an industry person to see that.
And that's
because you're
term.
right.
That's a good term.
It was like, gosh, we're all memes and everything aside, and everybody, it was like the drama was fun. Drama was always fun, right? Just to be a fly on the wall. But I don't know. It just seemed like, oh, like this, something's going to happen here. Like these guys aren't stopping.
Yeah.
Neither party seems, well, I would say neither party. I think MJ doesn't seem interested in any kind of settlement. He wants to see this out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hope that doesn't, in like the public perception or the industry perception, if you're saying that there's no real winners in this and that this is just detrimental to everybody because it's just sort of a murder-suicide in a way, right? Then the public opinion could shift away from in support of the teams and just almost, I don't know, maybe it could turn against MJ in a way where it's just like, dude, like what's going to benefit from this? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I
think
mean,
that's a fear for sure.
But obviously him and Denny and, everybody there, that they believe they're fighting for what is right in their minds. I'd love to know, like, truly what is the desired outcome for them? Like what needs to happen then? Because like I don't subscribe to the idea that it's like, well, they just need more money. Because that's like, so let's just say they're $70 million off on what NASCAR should be giving the teams. Or 700 million. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But let's just say it's money, right? Like, nope, NASCAR needs to give us our slice of the pie. We got 10%, we should get 20%. We got 20%, we should get 30%. And then let's say that they get that outcome. And everything else is the same coming out of this, but they got their bigger slice of the pie that they wanted. I hate to just be like, I'm smarter than everybody else, but it's like, they're going to spend all of that money and come back wanting for more. That's how racing works. That's how competitive businesses work. That's what, like, they're going to spend every dollar that they get.
I thought it was the core of the crux was the non-permanent charters, not the money itself. I mean, money obviously was one thing, but the non-permanent charters I thought was the big crux of the lawsuit.
I guess maybe. I mean, if that's what this all comes down to, and says no, we want permanent charters, we want a permanent place in the sport. I suppose that's just a piece of it that I'm leaving out. I'm just saying that like this can't be just about money, right? Like, and that's why I just want to know, what is the optimal outcome? What does 2311 and FRM want?
Yeah.
Because, and can it be given to them? Because it can't be just about money. It can't be just, we want our slice of the pie, right? Because that ain't going to work. If they get $30 million more next year, it doesn't just all of a sudden fix the business model. It's a short-term fix, right? They'll be more profitable for a short amount of time, but over a certain amount of time, they're going to end up spending all of that money. And we'll be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, and they're going to go, oh my gosh, it costs so much money to go cup racing. We have to spend $100 million per car to race.
Yeah.
The $60 million a year that NASCAR gives us just isn't enough to cover the bills. Like, that's literally like that. That's how it works. You're in a competitive business. You're going to spend every penny you can to compete at the highest level to win the trophy.
Yep.
So it's got to be more than just the money. If Denny was sitting right here responding, I would imagine that he would say, I would hope that he would respond to that, go, no, of course, it's not, it's more than that. We need this and we need that, and NASCAR has to break this up, and it has to be more than that. So
to that point, I think some of the things the judge said were pretty sobering for the industry when he basically said that he felt like there was no good outcome from this. That, part of the reason they didn't get the injunction and they lose the charter status and the money with the charter this season is part of the risk of creating a lawsuit about the charters. And he had some comments about the fact of charters. If he deems this to be in the team's favor, then he's like, most likely have to destroy the charter system, remove it altogether, right?
Yeah.
And possibly break up the tracks that the NASCAR owns, and therefore, who's going to operate those tracks? Are the teams going to operate it? Okay, well, you guys have never operated tracks before. How are you going to do this, right? Like, and who gets the tracks? And it's just, I think it gets
who's going to promote the sport?
Yeah, well, and that's the last bit to you look at what we've talked about for years, and I think there was a period of time where the industry was begging NASCAR to promote the sport more and for the tracks to promote more, right? And to sort of help the sport grow in that sense. And you look at some of the things NASCAR has done on the digital side and the production side and the investments they're making there, and you see the content that's coming out these lately that's just incredible, like that San Diego video that they put together, and they keep doing this incredible social content and video content around the drivers, and they're using all these different drivers, and they've got the DAP program, which has gotten the drivers very incentivized to do these things, and you see them on all sorts of podcasts, and you got guys like Ryan Preece and John Hunter Nemechek out there being like, I want to be on more podcasts, invite me on things, like who can I talk to about being on more pods, and all of that is because there's a central source of like, hey, let's promote this thing. Well, when this all gets broke apart, that's going to be a murky time. It's going to be muddy. So, and I don't want this to sound like we're taking sides in any respect. Absolutely going to let this unfold and see how it all goes. But I just think, back to my initial point on this, which was my sentiment analysis on the ground, is that suddenly this is becoming real and it's not a good look for anyone. Right.
Well,
and that's
becoming
hurting.
It's becoming real, and it's becoming more and more obvious that there is no short-term gain from this. So whatever comes out of this is going to have to be a long-term gain, I guess. The best possible short-term outcome of this is actually probably some version of 2311 losing. Right? Charter system stays intact. We all go to Daytona. Somehow 2311 FRM and NASCAR have to sort out their issues, and maybe the worst case scenario out of that is like we lose those teams. We lose Michael Jordan. He says, I'm out of here. Denny loses his aspect of it all. And I'm not saying that's a best case scenario. I'm saying that's like, potentially, that's the best case scenario, that we go to Daytona next year, and Daytona next year looks anything like it did Daytona last year, right?
Yep.
Where the scenario with 2311 and the teams winning this thing is like, well, what does that look like? What does Daytona 500 look like in a situation where a judge is ruling potentially, like you said, the judge said, that we're breaking up the tracks, breaking up the charters, you know what I mean? What does that look like? That's short, because the short term, and that's the sobering aspect of this, is like, holy shit, if that actually happens, that's not a 3-month recovery, right? That's maybe not, who knows if it's a 3-year recovery, who knows, right?
And I had a lot of people bring up the kart IRL split, right, which happened in the mid 90s when the PPG IndyCar World Series, which was kart, was the biggest series in the world. It was rivaling F1, so much so Bernie Ecclestone was so afraid of it. He was banning them from being able to race at any track that F1 was at, and there was all sorts of stuff going on. And when Nigel Mansell came over there as the F1 world champion to race in kart was a huge blow to F1, and it was just, there was a lot of momentum for the IndyCar series. They do a split between the IRL and kart and turn around 20 years later, and it has, there's a chance, and a very realistic chance, that IndyCar never, ever recovers from what that did to them and did to American open wheel racing. And as much as enthusiasm there is with their new TV package, Fox investing, they did have great Indy 500 ratings this year. It's still not to the level that it was in the mid 90s, right? And you can make an argument that NASCAR is not as popular as it was in the early 2000s, right? It's definitely the case, but it's held on maybe a lot better than IndyCar has in a time where there's more content and more choices for people to get entertained. And as the world has evolved and moved and, with all the things that have happened in car culture and all that stuff, right? It's held on better than you would say IndyCar has. And there's a lot of people that are liking this to that. And even if there is no split, right, that the damage, to your point of what does this look like if this all goes, to where they're breaking everything up and it's all separated, that damage could be the same level of collateral damage that the split did for IndyCar. And you turn around in 10 years and it's like, well, damn, that was the moment that we never recovered from, right?
Yeah.
So
IndyCar you could definitely say that IndyCar didn't really return to the same glory.
Can I offer a not so doom and gloom scenario for you guys?
Yeah, please.
Let's look at Formula One. Let's look at Formula One. They split off the rights management and the production, all of that into its own Formula One management, and Liberty Media owns that. And since Liberty Media acquired those rights, Formula One has blown up worldwide. FIA now has people bidding to bring races to where they're at, which can be good or bad, but that would potentially open up and enable the sport to go to different places like Canada or Mexico and get paid to go there instead of trying to convince these places to run there and figure that out, and then also have to manage the tracks and making sure that their tracks still keep a portion of the revenue. It could open up more opportunities because instead of being focused on trying to maximize all revenue for all assets of their business, they're only focused on running the sport itself rather than trying to make money from the tracks and everywhere else and make money from the media agreements and stuff like that.
It's an interesting thought. Yeah. I think anything's possible. If it sells, I think, the one thing I'll say about that is that F1 was already separated, where the FIA was the technical and sanctioning body, and the FOM, started by Bernie Ecclestone, was sort of the media rights holder, which he acquired back in the 70s when he offered all the teams a piece and they didn't want it. And then eventually they had to start carving pieces out to them. But he ended up the majority owner for the entirety of the time until he took on private equity, I think in the early 2000s with, I think it was CVC or someone like that. And then eventually sold the entirety of that to Liberty Media. So yeah, I think it's a good bull case, Josh. And who knows? I don't think anyone knows. And I think that's a little bit of the apprehension, and the sentiment is just sort of like, whoa, wait a second, this could all be different, and different scary, right? I love the quote from Henry Ford, which is, if I asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse, but he built a car, right? So who knows? You don't know what you don't know. And, change is scary to humans, and especially material change like this, and the thing that they, dedicate their lives to and focus on. So, and they don't have much control over. We'll see. Anyway, I think it's enough legal talk, but it is fascinating, and it is getting very, very real. On the Hauler Talk podcast, speaking of NASCAR, Mike Ford says that NASCAR is considering making fastest lap points for lead lap cars only after Josh Berry became the third wrecked car this season to come back out after repairs and get the extra point. This would be an off-season change. Now, I saw a lot of this was a Jeff Gluck tweet that he did, and I looked at a lot of the comments, and a lot of the fans were like, "This is stupid." Like in a lot of them are just like, "Why is there even a point for fastest lap?" I actually like the fastest lap point. I think it's cool. It's fun. We never talked about the fastest lap before. There was always the sales item of like Xfinity fastest lap, but let's be honest, no one paid attention. Now
I think it's a great idea. I think this is definitely going to get another 200,000 viewers.
I don't think that at all, but I just wanted to bring up one thing, and I tweeted this. I don't think people really understood what I was saying. So there has been some discussion that some of these cars that obviously have wrecked, and then they go out trying to set the fastest lap, may not be entirely legal when they do that, of course, because if you go to the garage and you just sort of make some tweaks and, bolt some things on, take some stuff off, make it lighter, whatever you call it. And then go out and set the, pump up the tires, set the fast lap and be like, oh, we got to come back to the garage again sort of thing. That might be what some people believe could be happening. So not saying that's what happened.
Make
Not
the car
saying at
that
all.
gets fastest lap have to go through inspection.
Well, if you got it fixed or put back correctly after you came back into the garage again, so I literally, that was just said to me in the garage by a couple people. I don't have any verification of it. I just thought I would bring that up as a point as to why NASCAR might be thinking that, is that they're getting that same thought process from some of the other teams. It's just like, hey, by the way, like this might not be working out the way we thought. Do I think it really is a material change that needs to happen? No. As I said, on the priority list,
this is the kind of unnecessary complexity added to the system that ultimately results in, executives presenting to the France family in a board meeting legitimate reasons why we need to hire more staff at the R&D center. Like, well, it just takes 150 man hours every single week to go through and deliberate over all these important things that we have to solve for.
That is true. Good point. So anyway, not worth wasting our time on, and on the priority list, very low, but I thought I'd point that out. Let's talk about the Xfinity series. They went to Portland last time there, at least for the foreseeable future. And we don't have to get too deep in this because I think everyone's heard everyone talk about this. But what's that?
They just need to put a wall there.
Yeah, or do what ARCA does, which is you just skip that corner. ARCA on the restarts and starts skips that corner.
That's a great idea.
And they just go into turn 4. And it was like, okay, that's a simple fix that we wouldn't have any of these problems. Where Connor Zillich was able to go through the A-frames and keep the lead.
We don't have to know that is just in line with my general consensus that chicanes are a design flaw anyways.
You and Dale Jr. have that same opinion.
Does he?
His corners suck. Yeah.
Chicanes are stupid.
Yep. I agree. I think they're a bad design. They're always a bad design. They're just a crutch. They're always just a crutch. And if you look at it, Portland was not designed probably to have that chicane. It was designed to drive into turn 4 flat out down that straightaway. And then
somebody came up with some reactionary idea to like, oh, let's just add a chicane here.
We'll slow them down.
Yeah.
We'll slow them down with chicane. So the only, I just like to put it out there. No problem with Connor Zillich, and not because I'm biased, obviously, with everything I just experienced in Daytona. Nothing to do with that. He did everything by the letter of the law. It just happened to be faster. So he was just intelligent enough to do the right thing. There's about 4 cars behind him, though, that legitimately just simply cut the corner. I was like, wait a second. And in the rule book, it says if you do that on the last few laps, so you can't do a drive-through penalty, it's a 30-second penalty. None of them were penalized. And I think that's where everyone was a little miffed about that. But we don't have to worry about that again till we get to where else could we have that sort of thing? Maybe the Roval, but they would start. You have to stop there. So we don't really experience this anywhere where you're allowed to drive through these A-frames instead of having to stop if you cut a corner. I don't think we have to talk about it.
Denny brought this up in his podcast. We're a show, so different situation. We can bring it up here. Ross Chastain did the same exact thing at the Indy road course. Yep. And I remember being significantly heated because I'm like, this is another big brain Ross move. They never said you had to stop. They never said any of that. He just sent it in there. And then they penalized him because he got too much of an advantage.
Yep. I know.
One of those videos, I think on that last restart, there's somebody, and I don't know who it was, gained like 9 spots by doing it. If you go back to the restart,
it's Leyland Honeyman.
Is that who it was?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Honeyman.
I think he went into turn 1 in like 18th. I count it from this view right here, like right there.
No. And what is he?
Right
look at
that one right there that broke off.
No
that
way.
Car right there. If you go back and pause it and just count cars, I think he was like an 18th or something, and then came out in what appeared to be somewhere in the top 10. And then I don't know where he even finished. So I just was looking.
Wait, I don't even know if he was in the race. Hold on, wait. Was he in the race?
I don't know who it was.
I covered it, but I can't remember. I heard that someone said that. Maybe that was Dale's podcast. God, I've listened to so many this week. I don't know what I was doing to myself. Maybe it's Annunziata in that.
Yeah, it was
That
that
would've been
very
him in the
first
70.
car, right there. That very first car, and I don't know if people passed him back or what, because he looked like he didn't have a lot of momentum. But he absolutely, from corner entry to corner exit.
Wait,
who was it?
I think that is that
Was that
Garrett?
Clemens?
No, it might.
Anyways, we're killing the people that don't have video.
No, I know. I think that was maybe last year that they were talking about Honeyman. Anyway, that is just it's not a good design. It's just bad design. And when there's bad design, there's bad design. Let's talk about the playoff situation. It's the regular season cutoff for the Xfinity series because each of the 3 series have different cutoffs, which makes it very confusing. But we roll into Gateway with Harrison Burton, 31 points ahead of his cousin, Jeb Burton. Basically in his hands to the 25 team, just not make a mistake, have no new winner, which if you looked at the available cars that could win, I would put William Sawalich there, who's 19th in points. Could bump himself in. I would put maybe Christian Eckes if they were to show up with a ton of speed at Colleague, as somebody that could do that. So there's maybe Ryan Sieg. He's been fast here and there. So I think this will still be it's not just a home run for Harrison in that sense, but on points alone, he's in a pretty safe position. And Jeb Burton is going to rue that caution call at Talladega when Zilich wrecked on the back and he was side by side with the 21 and lost by mere inches at the caution. Absolutely rue it. And when it happened, I know for a fact, I may have said it on TV, but I definitely said it to Jamie personally. And I was like, that right there is going to haunt that team. I was like, to be that close and they didn't get that win at Talladega, not, obviously winning Talladega had been huge, but also in terms of making the playoffs with what he was trying to do with where their speed is at as a race team and just looking at the schedule and that sort of thing. I felt like that was going to haunt them. So very brutal, very brutal. I will be on the broadcast this weekend and hopefully I get the drivers right this time as opposed to just thinking there was a driver in the race that wasn't. Which actually didn't happen on TV. I just did that here. But we won't be going back to the Portland. We mentioned that. In the Truck Series, Corey Heim wins again past weekend. No shocker there. The news that's been all around and the rumors are that Corey Heim will most likely not be in a full-time ride in 2026, but do a mix of all 3 series. Back to the lawsuit stuff. I wonder if that's the case with all that could go down with the teams and who's actually racing in 26. So we'll see. There could definitely be some cup opportunities there.
I don't starting to hear all these rumblings of what Tyler Reddick could do next year. But I don't feel like why would he even I don't know why he would even be entertaining too much about leaving 23XI.
Well, I think it was said to me this past weekend that everyone is interested in Tyler Reddick.
Well, I'm sure of that.
I was like, okay.
But like,
he's a pretty girl at the dance.
You got to get some pretty aggressive offers, I think. And it's fair. But I mean, I just think it would take some pretty aggressive offers early on, which is when they, maybe when they should be doing it. Maybe that's what's happening to get him to seriously consider leaving. Because otherwise, why would you? Like,
what if there's not a team though in 26?
Yeah, but is that like what's really the chance of there not being a team?
I don't know. What were the chances that 2 teams were going to sue NASCAR in 2025?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're him, I mean, this is his living. This is, his livelihood.
He's got
you've got, Chevrolet or something like that throwing a multi-million-dollar multi-year contract in front of you and guarantee that you're going to be driving for this car and a path to go to that car. why would you not take it by a certain date?
I think everyone's, that's been interested in him has been watching closely with what's happening to this lawsuit. And I think, especially if what's gone down here and them being unchartered and that sort of thing. And I'm not going to get into the legalese of it all. And if he is a free agent or not, but I would think that, they feel like possibly it's a way to get him right at a time when you would have had to wait till he's a traditional free agent and go through that process. And now you could have a little leverage if he doesn't even have a team that he has to sort of be like, yeah, I got to drive. Where am I going? So
what
especially if
seat
you're
is
a team with
even
deep
available?
pockets and you want a superstar driver and you don't have one,
What seats available that he would want to take? That's the question I have. If 45
What's saying there's a seat
exists-
available, or if you had a seat that you considered was a premier ride and you felt like if you had to, you would just bump the guy that's in there to put him in there. What's to say that's not a problem?
I'm going to throw a name out there and just let me know if he has a contract. Is Alex Bowman signed next year?
Oh my gosh. I'm not going to. Poor guy. He could have a 10-year deal and people will be like, he's toast.
Well,
He could
first
win
he
5
could have a
races.
10-year deal. He could have a 10-year deal, and they still ask, "Is he signed for next year?"
Yeah. Poor guy.
It's just a 1+1. That's all it ever is.
They're always one. They're really not even ones, to be honest, because to the point of like knocking someone else out. I think maybe it's you and I, Landon, or someone else I was talking to, and I was like, well, that person's in a contract, and they were like, what does that mean? And I was like, good point. It's racing. It doesn't mean anything. There is no such thing as a real contract. All right, let's talk F1. It was the what is it? I just totally lost the term for the GP. What's the name of the
Dutch Grand Prix?
Dutch Grand Prix. Home of Max Verstappen. That's how we should have called it. Max Verstappen Invitational. McLaren dominated once again. Oscar Piastri got the win. Lando Norris had engine problems at the end. Couldn't quite get to his teammate. But the coolest story of the whole thing was Isack Hadjar getting his first ever podium for Racing Bulls and drove a great race right there. Ferrari had a miserable time. Lewis Hamilton wrecked. And
Paint is slick when it's wet.
yes, he
Yes,
did
it is.
discover that. He did discover that. That was sad. This has been a tough season for him. He seems deflated too when he talks.
Oof.
You notice that?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like kind of
Really tough. It has destroyed and I'm going to just, out myself here, my prediction that he would win an 8th world title this year and sell $1 bajillion of merch. That has not happened.
not gonna happen.
No.
He probably
What's the
still
points?
sold $1 bajillion in merch.
Yeah, actually, we should be. Yeah, let's be honest. He probably did. What's the?
You were 50% right.
What is the points now, Josh? at the front?
Well, you want drivers or
drive. Yeah, well, duh. Constructors is easily locked up. I'm talking Oscar to Lando.
Let's let me pull it up real quick. I have it up on my other monitor.
Jeez, this guy is.
Here you go.
He's not prepared.
It is 309 to 275.
Ooh, big gap.
It
Now,
is.
and a
It's
win
over a race
is-
now.
Yeah, and a win to second is what? It's 8 points.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any more races with a sprint race that have an ultimate weekend.
We
I
are
don't
your
know.
place for all motorsport knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that out there.
Well, you get
We know
8
more than
points.
anyone.
You get 8 points if you win the sprint, 1 point for the fastest lap, and 25 points for winning. So
Yeah,
I
but
don't know
what's
if it's
second place?
officially
What
won
is second place in a Grand Prix?
18.
18. So it's 10 points. No, it's 8. 8 points. Sorry.
Mhm.
8 points. So yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to go on a tear if he wants to get back in it. We'll see.
Did you see Zach Brown's reaction during the podium celebration?
No.
he looked visibly distraught.
Wow.
Well, the guy who's not supposed to win the championship is probably going to win the championship. It's not a good position. So I would think that's the case.
There's no number 2 drivers at McLaren. Just remember that.
Yeah, no number 2s except for the guy that we pay way more money and who's been here way longer and I sort of brought into this and was my buddy is not going to win and now I'm probably going to have to fire him in 2 years. So or he's going to have to leave. Like literally that's the thought going through his head. So I get it. In big news for America though. We mentioned the Cadillac race drivers were announced last week. But we got the announcement this week and final confirmation. Colton Herta will be the test driver for Cadillac F1 and is expected to do something to gain the super license points to make him eligible for a super license, which is you can do FP1 sessions, I believe, which make you eligible. Obviously, he can go run F2, which has been the big talk of him going to somewhere like Prema and doing that for a season, which some people have had this thought of like, well, if he goes and does that and he doesn't win, like what a disaster. And he only has to finish, I think, like 9th in the points to get enough points to be get a super license with everything he's done in IndyCar. And I was like, yeah, but Landon, let me ask you this. If you had the chance to go to F1 and the risk was that you had to go do F2 and maybe not look as good as, as you're trying to figure out those cars and the tracks and all that stuff. But maybe it goes great and you get to F1. If you don't, most likely you can come rebuild an IndyCar. You'll be just fine. I think I'd take the risk.
100%.
Yeah.
Why not?
What's the loss? He also made a gajillion dollars in the last 4 years in his IndyCar contract. So he'll be just fine. Plus he could do sports cars. Could probably maybe go run Le Mans or something this year if that was an opportunity. He can I think he can do the Indy 500 this coming year, even if he does F2 the way the schedule lines up. So he'll be fine there.
I just think it's a once in a lifetime situation. The other thing too is like he might have a chance of making Cadillac F1 look better than what it like. He might look like a hero if Cadillac F1 is in F1 struggling, which let's be real, most likely going to struggle at first. But he is in a funded ride in F2, running top 3 every week. He's going to look like a hero.
Yeah.
He's going to be a hero in their shop. He's going to be a hero in the meetings, right? Like,
good point. Yep.
But so he's getting his super license. He's winning races, running top 3 while the F1 program is struggling and building out. I'm not trying to be cynical about Cadillac F1. I'm going to be their biggest fan next year, but I think why wouldn't you?
I think it's great. And I can tell you this, he will be the highest paid F2 driver by Infinity, basically. Because I don't think anyone's ever been paid to be an F2, really. If they had, they weren't really being paid to be an F2. And he will definitely have been the wealthiest self-made driver and highest paid driver that's ever been F2. So kudos to him. He'll have that in his record forever. In the IndyCar world, they ended their season last week. Obviously, Alex Palou had already locked up the championship. Kind of a wild race that occurred, but the big talk was all this, silly season stuff that starts with willpower and Penske. It still wasn't announced or decided before, but finally, we got confirmation he is leaving Team Penske, and in the way they wrote their statement that it was his decision, which he had alluded to a couple times recently, and he will be filling the seat that Colton Herta is releasing over at Andretti. So he continues on, the winningest guy in IndyCar, the pole master for a while, incredible qualifier, is going to continue on, and for good reason. He's still winning. So how could you, and the guy still wants to drive, how can he not find a ride? So happy for him. And I'm sure it was very emotional to leave Team Penske after the amount of years that he's been there. But, on to something new and different. So be fun to watch him do that. Will be weird to not see him in a Team Penske car, though. I just kind of think of him and those cars as together. You're just nodding. You know, it's an audio-based format.
Yeah. No, you said it all. It was a little shocking to see that swap there, but I mean, do you think that was something that happened at Penske, or do you think that was Andretti getting aggressive with their moves?
I think it started at Penske, and I think it was something done before they've had some changes internally, and it was tough to correct them. And he decided if that was the case, he's out. So I think there was some ways maybe to stay there on a single or something like that, but he didn't want to do that. So
Interesting.
I think the relationship had been hurt in that sense,
Mhm.
from what I understand. So
Dang.
let's talk one big topic that came out, which is I'm sort of not sure what this means or what they bought or what exactly is happening here. But apparently GMS, the old, Maury Gallagher, Spencer Gallagher race team that was a part of Legacy Motor Club initially, and obviously had the truck team forever. That was a winning truck team, has bought the assets of the SRX Superstar Racing Experience, which they made clear that these were well-built cars that they bought, but I'm not exactly sure what they want to do with them or what's the intention. So
We need to get Spencer on the show and find out.
we did. Yes, you should text them. You guys are buds. I might do that. Okay, we'll whisper on this audio-based format. I think you keep forgetting that there is a mic.
Do you want to come talk? Come on
This is happening in real time.
lap and talk to me and Parker about this.
So, I mean, I can read a quote if you would like to read a quote.
Yeah, give me one of the quotes that gives me any idea of what's happening, because
Our team sees a huge opportunity to take these vehicles into a new era, repurposing them for premium track day experiences, turnkey customer programs, and specialty racing events across the country. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah,
Endless.
don't know if I really understood that. Okay,
That's why he needs to
maybe
come on.
rent a ride and that sort of stuff, and sort of arrive and drive program. I just don't know why you had to buy those cars, but is what it is. Got it.
Nobody's using them.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe it was
You're
like
right.
a fire sale. Like Ray just wanted to get rid of them. He's like, I'm
Well, the
paying
cool
way
thing
too
about
much
those
in
cars is they were like, I mean, you said well-built race cars. They were well-built race cars with a ton of horsepower. Like that would be a fun stock car to
Okay.
drive.
Yep.
So I could see that being like, yeah, this is a cool car to drive if you want to do track days, or I could see that.
Okay. Yeah, or do you like your own little series or something? Like
Yeah.
a ride and drive series?
Hey, I've told
Right.
you offline, like one of my dreams someday is to like start my own series here for Hawkeye Downs of just like some just old school stock car, right?
Yeah.
Like
Let's do it.
just big 600-700 horsepower, but street stock type body and tires.
No. 1,000 horsepower.
1,000 horsepower. Oh gosh.
1,000 horsepower, 3,400 pounds off the ground, bias ply tires. Short tracks only. We don't want to deal with high speeds.
I mean,
We
what
should
would
just
it
do it.
take? What would it
What are we
take to
waiting
run
on?
at a local track? Like this, we're doing, I don't want some $1 million a year program. We got a local track. Maybe they got to run like 6 races a year where they can run the whole season on an engine.
Yeah.
Well, you want to
definitely.
you want to run an engine for multiple seasons. I'm saying like maybe it's 100 lap features every time. You know, the Blizzard series in Pensacola kind of had a deal like that, right?
Mm.
Wasn't that like 8 or 10 races? They were all 100 lap features. But they
You're
weren't these
testing
types of
knowledge.
cars. Sorry, I'm testing short track racing knowledge. I'm just saying like our own little series of just the cars are here and they're just kick ass.
But we
And
get
yeah,
to do
you gotta
road
buy
courses.
a set of tires for everyone.
I want to do road courses. Road courses and short tracks.
Road courses are cool. But then
The
you
only
gotta start
problem the road
traveling,
courses-
Then you got to work on the car. Then you got to.
Well, it's just 1,000 horsepower is a bit with a big heavy car is a little scary. Like you'd have to have the safety stuff correct for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm talking that $1,000 like street motor that you can buy, like that one.
I don't want
the
to
Dodge
like
one, the Hemi one.
I don't want to send Dr. Gibson into the tire barrier turn 1 at Road America.
No, that's my fear. Or like Lime Rock turn 1, you know. Hey, that's my lawyer, Dan. Boom. It's like, oh no. These are made for professionals. Not the way to do it. Well, if you like what we're talking about with our fictional series, hit us up. One day, the Money Lap series will come to fruition. Let's make some picks for this week.
Okay.
Oh, did you already fill yours out? No, that was yours last week.
No, that's it right there.
Oh, you filled them out.
Even though 2 out of the 5 series that he filled out are not running this weekend.
Well, you got to say them. It's an audio-based format.
Is Cup racing this weekend?
Yes.
Cup is racing.
Blaney,
Great.
Xfinity. How do you not go with Connor?
They are also racing this weekend.
Yes.
He said Connor.
What a truck? I'm guessing truck isn't.
Truck is not racing this weekend, but you just say it.
Well, I said Corey Heim.
I'm sure he's feeling like a winner this weekend.
Where's
He'll win
F1?
something.
Where's F1 racing this weekend?
They are going to hit up Monza for a little Monza
The
madness.
Best F1 race of
Ooh.
the year.
I put Piastri down because it's like I'm kind of going with the momentum there.
Let your heart change it. You know you want to.
I'm gonna let Parker do that though.
Yeah, he knows who.
And then if IndyCar were to race this weekend, I would pick Herta. But I will keep refreshing my Twitter feed to see if they last minute decide to put something up.
At a race. Hey boys, we're going racing this weekend. Where do you want to go? Cup, I'm going to choose. I did like Team Penske as a choice. Big time choice, but I'm gonna go Christopher Bell. There. He was pretty on tilt after what happened to him with Carson Osavar in pit road at Darlington and was quite upset with the fact that Carson had spun out, brought the caution, was behind the field, and then pitted and didn't wait for him to exit and came across his nose. So I think he's on tilt. He's gonna be fast. It's a short, flat track. That's Christopher Bell's stuff. He's going victory lane. Xfinity, Justin Allgaier. I just got a feeling.
He's
Justin
due.
Allgaier. Yeah.
He's had a solid season, but has been very veteran.
Well, and if he wins, Connor Zilisch will be second to continue his maybe sub to 2.0 average finish in the last like 12 races or something crazy.
Generational run.
For Formula One, there is only one. There's only one manufacturer that matters. And when I spent time in Italy, even if they weren't F1 fans, they knew of this name and they said it with reverence and love and passion. That is Ferrari. And it will be Lewis Hamilton going to victory lane.
Wow.
And the Tifosi will go insane.
That's a wild idea. For Cup, man, I really like both Blaney and Bell. But you guys just have no faith. He exceeds in chaos. Denny Hamlin wins this weekend to lock himself into the next round.
Good pick.
Xfinity. Again, I love Connor Zilisch. I love Allgaier. Great picks, but I think
Brandon Jones.
no, Eric Almirola.
Oh, even better.
And then in F1, he was crying on the side of the track as his world was falling apart, and it wasn't the guy in red. I am going with Lando Norris is going to strike back after his team has a horrible pit stop with Oscar Piastri, just conveniently.
This
Interesting.
the script should be that way, so I'm actually hoping for that.
I like that script. I'll watch that movie. It's a good one. Good picks. Let's do some reviews on Apple Podcasts. We got a new 5-star review. This one says, Daytona win. My wife and I went to Daytona last weekend. It was the first Xfinity Series race she had ever been to, and she was excited to see her favorite driver, Parker, ! Woo! Able to race again. She picked Parker simply because of the pink 48 Big Machine car she saw on TV a few years ago. She couldn't believe that Parker won on her birthday weekend. It would mean so much for her if you wish Sarah a happy 21st birthday. Happy birthday, Sarah. Appreciate it. Got the win just for you. But I will
Shout
say,
out to the young love too.
well, I was going to say the thing that caught me off guard on this one is my wife and then 21st birthday. So to Cholo 41 and Sarah, congratulations. Young love. Gotta love it.
Lot to unpack there, lot to speculate on. First
Yep.
of all, happy to both of you, Sarah, Parker, Cholo, the whole thing there, for the win, for the birthday, for enjoying the race. I don't know if this is one of those things where it's like when my kids ask my wife how old she is, and she says 29. So like all my kids think that my wife is that their mom is 29. So I don't know if it's one of those things. Happy 21st birthday, Sarah.
That's
Maybe it's a
amazing.
young love. Maybe it's just a two young couple just getting out of college, married. That would be cute. Good for them.
Good for
Maybe
them.
Cholo's 50. His wife's 21. Takes her to
Good for
NASCAR
him.
races. Who knows?
Good
Nothing
for
wrong
him.
with it.
Nothing wrong with that.
There
Happy
was
birthday, Sarah.
there was a lot of winning at Daytona last week.
A lot of winning going on in Daytona.
Tons of wins. You want to do the Spotify?
Sure. Shane says, I was screaming at the tube, do it for the pod park. What
He
a
meant the
great-
show.
For the show, yeah.
Yeah.
And Kyle, I think this is all reacting
Oh.
to us talking about you winning in Daytona. And then Kyle Kyle, put something, I don't know, is a picture of a cat. So the cat has a weird name. But anyways, there's a cat that said most slept on driver of all time. I don't know anything about that, Parker. That is
No.
between you and whatever this cat knows about you.
I was like, wait, really? What do you know that I don't?
Yeah, that's interesting. Coming from a cat. Renee said, no review, just big congrats on the W. I may or may not have been screaming for you, PK.
Oh, these are nice. I didn't realize these were all just to me, so I apologize.
That's okay.
On YouTube.
No, I mean, there's really nothing for me, I guess.
Well, that will come back around. It's just a bunch of
Detective
euphoria.
Lauderdale PI. What?
Oh, so yeah, this Detective Lauderdale PI says been a pretty good week for the algorithm. He is one of the commenters we get on YouTube that constantly comments saying just here for the help the algorithm, basically. So these are some of our biggest fans trying to help us move up in the
God's
algorithm
work.
gods' views and eyes. So we appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you.
And Big Turbo Guy says, congrats, PK, from an Aussie SVG fan. Great drive, dude. Thank you, dude. Talked about that win with SVG over this weekend, which was fun.
And for Denise
And-
Pemberton, great news. We have
Oh, what's
great
that?
news for you. Denise said, congrats, Parker. Please tell me there will be a t-shirt. Well, if you've made it this far, you will already know, Denise, that there is a t-shirt.
There is a t-shirt, Denise.
You can get it on spoileddigest.com.
We did get an email during our summer
Oh.
break that we missed talking about.
We did?
Oh,
We did.
Nice. I can't read it.
Hi,
Uh,
hi there.
Noah.
I hope. Oh, you're gonna read it.
oh, yeah, I got it now.
Okay.
Noah Babanu here says to...
You got to
friends
read
at
his email. You got to dox him.
oh
No, I'm
yeah,
not
he
gonna do
totally
that,
doxed himself.
He says...
Can't unsee that.
To friends at themoneylap.com, if you want to write us an email. Says, hi there. I hope you're well. I'm here to inform you of my disappointment that you did not plan your 2-week vacation around my return to school. This lack of thought has forced me to pay attention in my lectures instead of listening to your show. Very sad. In all seriousness, I just want to write in and say I love the show and keep up the good work. Hopefully soon we can see Landon back in NASCAR in a spoilerdiecast.com car in the Xfinity Crossed Out O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Wishing the whole team the best. Your one listener, Denny Hamlin. That's nice. Thanks, Noah. And Denny, we appreciate you. Landon, spoiler diecast car coming to a racetrack near you, driven by Landon Cassill. That would be exciting. And, oh, no way. Do you know what we totally forgot about? Besides
well,
you forgetting this is an
I asked
audio.
you to text him to make sure that.
Well, no, because we were just so excited, and I was so excited about all the win stuff and getting to ring the bell and everything, and totally forgot to do that. So he's not here, and we apologize. And if you've listened for a long time, you know who that is. It's Kyle Busch. This has become ridiculous, absolutely just absurd how bad we are at this. Hence, we don't have a lot of guests often. We've obviously always had him here ready at times, but we just forget to do it. Nonetheless, we don't have Kyle Busch. So hopefully next week. Thank you all for listening and watching. Peace.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where, but nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.